What's going on, YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back here with some more LaserDiscs. It's been quite some time since I did an update video, and I believe these have not been seen in an official update video. I might have shown a few of them in my live streams over the past couple months, but I did get a lot recently that I split with a friend of mine, and then there's a few other bits and bobs I picked up over the months, so I figured I'll show those. And I do have a couple slow boats arriving from Japan with some Japanese and US discs in them. Some cool things I've been looking for quite some time in there, actually. So super excited for the day, whenever that may be, that they arrive on these shores. But in the meantime, I did receive an awesome package from a viewer named Alan who posted these overseas, and I thought that was wicked cool. In particular, a couple things he knew I was interested in, including the universal release of Duel, which is the theatrical cut Spielberg put together, a little bit longer, and you can check out the television cut if you want. It's available on, I believe, on archive.org. It looks great. But I really like the theatrical cut. The extended opening is fantastic and really sets the mood and establishes this world and the mindscape. You can really see how Dennis Weaver's further and further out of his element as he travels. Fantastic movie. Love it. It might be a little too 70s and slow for some viewers, but I still love this sucker. So yeah, cheers, mate. And also threw in, I'd been covering the other copy I had gotten of this, so he knew I was a fan of the 80s film Daryl. And he sent me the Japanese release, which is gorgeous. The cover art on this thing is amazing. So, yeah, fantastic. Still got the Obi strip, and yeah, really, really nice, nice disc. Even has the digital sound Dolby Surround hype sticker on there. And a little surprise, the one he didn't even mention just happened to pop in, and it was the DTS surround sound version of Speed. And I fired it up and it sounds fantastic. Both the 5.1 versions of this on LaserDisc don't have a LFE track, but they still sound amazing. Yeah, the Dolby Digital and the DTS ones. Yeah, really just the beginning with the elevator scene. So many great surround track moments, and yeah, fantastic. So cheers. And this is just a brief one. I'd been wanting to get this for a while. It's got a little bit of wear on the jacket, but for the James Bond collection, I didn't have the original erroneous printing. It has some audio errors on it, and they ended up reissuing this with a slightly different jacket, but live and let die. So, for completion's sake, I had to get it. Still the same gatefold as before. I take it out of the jacket. I think I showed the gatefold in the last one, just to be lazy. Then, yeah, there was a gentleman on LaserDisc Forever who posted a lot that he was looking to just donate, and he was literally 5 minutes down the street. The pizza place I go to on the regular is a stone's throw from his place. And come to find out, he was actually living in the house right next door to some family members of mine. So we used to go and hang out there for cookouts in their backyard all the time. So yeah, it was a trip. So I actually tried to, because I've got so many discs and I've got so much stuff, that I'd probably have doubles and things like that. So I was like, I'll let somebody else have this one. We'll pay it forward a little and just kind of sidestep this. And it increasingly became apparent that this lot was something I was going to have to step out of the house and go pick up, because nobody else could really make it, and he was looking to get it out of the house that night. Yeah, so I just drove like 10 minutes down the street at most and picked these up, and I ended up splitting it with a friend of mine who wasn't able to make it up to pick up the lot. So I'm like, hey, whatever if you want the rest of these, go for it. And there was a lot of great box sets and stuff, but I had all of that stuff already, except for a handful, which I'll show you at the tail end of this. But yeah, one of them, it's funny, I have so many copies of this, but they're all different pressings. One of them was a DTS release of The English Patient, with a little bit of shelfware on the jacket and some ringware, but really nice stuff. I do have the Dolby Digital version as well, and of course the Dolby Digital Criterion collection release. But yeah, it's nice having it on DTS. This does have a gatefold. Yeah, I have not seen that in a while, so that'll be cool. And believe it or not, this Common has never been in my collection. It's a little beat up, but that's fine. It's something about Tom Cruise movies and gatefolds, even though they're single discs. Days of Thunder. I know, believe it or not, this collection has never had a copy of Days of Thunder in it. Yeah, you figure along with Top Gun, this is a necessary home theater viewing experience. But it does have a gatefold, as I mentioned before, even though there's just the one disc. But yeah, it's a little beat up, but what the hell? I'll go for it. I think that was an X-Rental or something. This, interestingly, I also never had because by the time I got around to investing in it, the other version, Video Essentials, had come out. So I never did have a Video Standard. So now I do. And yeah, it's a single side, I believe, CAV release. Those dogs love it. And it does have a pretty comprehensive right up here in the gatefold. And even though it is a gatefold and it doesn't have two discs, it does have a kick-ass book on the inside. And inside the kick-ass book, there's, of course, a reference recordings questionnaire for the best seat in the house, and a fancier version of the blue filter. This is what you use to adjust your color and tint. You look through it and adjust accordingly. But the one that came with Video Essentials was essentially just a little loose film strip, but this one's encased in this pretty handy dandy cardboard surrounding. So yeah, it's got a breakdown of all the chapters and everything in here, and yeah, it's pretty data intensive. It even has like breakdowns of what was that, transfer, like video transfer breakdowns, and oh yeah, it gives you all the color bars and how it would look on your oscilloscope, and yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I never did have a copy of that, so now, yeah, even though I watch Video Essentials all the time with its amazing demo film about the the Amish fruit salesman, I'm going to have to keep that in the collection as well. This, I didn't realize I didn't have an LD. I do have the later nice letterbox version of Hairspray. I believe this is just 4:3, but Crybaby, fun flick, great John Waters action. Johnny Depp and everyone in there. Iggy Pop in there is amazing. So, yep. And got a little cinema disc, which is like Image Entertainment's like also ran. It's like Criterion Junior. They weren't really great on giving you letterboxed editions, and I don't believe this is. Essentially there's the same stuff you'd find on VHS in the like foreign section in your local video store, but there's still some cool. I've got the cinema disc of Wings of Desire, and of course this is Cyrano de Bergerac. So I figured it was in decent shape. I'd hold on to this sucker. Gerard Depardieu film with, what year did this come out? 1990. So this disc was 91. So yeah, figured why not. We'll keep that. Also, just because it's a fun film, there are better versions out there, but the MCA home video, great cover too, version of the Glenn Miller story. Jimmy Stewart there. Yeah, figured we'll hold on to that. It'll go nicely with all my Encore editions. Then, interesting Philip Kaufman film, which is completely uncut in its original form. And yeah, excited to spin this up. Fred Ward and Uma Thurman and Maria de Medeiros and Richard Grant. Richard E. Grant's always in the coolest stuff. But yes, it is Henry and June. So yeah, some intense, passion-filled drama awaits. Yeah, letterboxed as well, so congrats to Universal. And yeah, it was a trip finding this in here. It's got some spine fractures and stuff, but yeah, it's widescreen. Hemdale put it out, and I'm assuming it's probably not the best transfer, but yeah, what the hell, I gotta have this. It is the interesting film Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, which was like a international creation that never quite became what it was intended to become, but still got to have this American version of it on LaserDisc. So yeah, I was psyched that was in there. So I finally own yeah, Little Nemo. And this is interesting because it's signed. It looks like Joel Schumacher signed it, though unfortunately it got a little bit of water on the signature, which made it streak on the jacket. But it is the gorgeous full cover, even though it's pan and scan, but or the full kind of cover art for the Lost Boys that Warner did. Didn't have the silver stripe on the side, just has on the back. But yeah, I don't know whose this was originally, because the gentleman who gave these to me isn't named Michael. So of course it's got to be for Michael. But yeah, I thought this was great, and I just gave away, I think, all my other like pan and scan and letterbox, not the AC3. Unfortunately, I still don't have that. But all my other copies I gave to Seth Peterson in the delivery to him to Sweden. So it's cool. So I didn't have this, and my previous one was not signed by Joel Schumacher, so that's nice. But yeah, as you can see, it's got some streaks there. But yeah, I can deal with it. Any Lost Boys is welcome in my home. It's always invited. Another another signed disc. This one is signed by Tim Curry on the Lips, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I do have the big THX box set behind my head, but this was in really nice shape, and it's got Tim Curry's signature on it. Again, I'm not Michael, but that's cool. I can pretend to be. And this one probably was an X-Rental as well. Lots of creases and stuff like that. But it's and it looks like it's got it's like a little mark on the back, like it was sold at discount or something to that effect. But Scent of Green Papaya, which I didn't own. Might as well add it to the collection for sure. So it was cool. Great jacket art. Love that. Great use of color in the gold against the green. And this I had to keep for curiosity's sake. This is going out to Stefan Hamburger, who I saw released a video about this film, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet. So this is something I'm sure he probably has a copy of, but it's Total Recall, and this is the 4:3 version that was released concurrently with the THX letterboxed one. So the year on this was probably 94? Yeah, 94. So interestingly, it's not THX because it was modified to fit your television. But I thought it was pretty cool to have, again, the jacket art is killer. I have the THX letterbox copy. I figured, what the hell? And it might make for some fun comparisons for future videos. Not like I can use, images from films like this without getting copyright strikes, but it might be fun anyways, just at least for my own edification. Then IMAX film. This is an early release. I think they reissued this later. He had a lot of LumaVision stuff in his collection, but the Dream is Alive. Didn't have a copy of it and figured, what not? Looks nice. Yeah, a lot of documentary stuff and a couple music videos and things like that. So I kept a few. This one's a trip. You might have heard me talking about it on the podcast, the LaserDisc Wolfpack podcast we did this past week. But this is a Japanese release that I don't believe it has an Obi strip, or maybe it just does and it's lost. For some reason, this always shows up in Goodwills and Salvation Armies here in the States. Probably because I guess like rich car enthusiasts would pick this up, and they were like the first people to ditch their LD players and just drop them on, as they moved on to DVD, and they just dropped them at Goodwills and stuff and walked away whistling. But it is an 8-chapter car release called Motor Fantasy. But what they don't tell you is it's also kind of like Playboy style, very, very softcore pornography. So yeah, you're just watching this and all of a sudden it's just naked women's on the screen. So it's pretty funny. Yeah. So just make sure you're aware of that when you're watching it with the family. But yeah, I thought it was cool because there's the Lotus Esprit in there, being a big James Bond fan. And this is Lotus Esprit Turbo, and there's a Renault Alpine V6, a Morgan Plus 8, some BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, Ferrari. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's only 44 minutes, but yeah, Motor Fantasy, and of course the kind of silver embossed cover there. It's great. Then this was pretty cool. I've seen these, ages and ages ago, and of course they would also show on animation festivals. But this compilation came out in 1992. But Plimpton's, Bill Plimpton animations. Really interesting stuff. Usually like a colored pencil style, like real kind of rough, sketchy animation. But interesting, bizarre, mutations of faces and things like that. It's real fun stuff. So I haven't fired this up yet, but I'm looking forward to checking that out. It's from LumaVision. How long? Can't be that long. 60 minutes. So Yeah, it dropped in 1992, so it's got 19 shorts on it. Yeah. The world of animation has a scabriously witty new black comedy star, and his name is Bill Plimpton. He is Salvador Dali reborn as an ear, nose, and throat specialist, says Entertainment Weekly. So, this one was cool. The jacket was like a little bent because, unfortunately, some of these were stacked, maybe in a garage or something wrong. But the disc was fine and it had absolutely no warp. So I think it was just the upper corners of the disc jacket were bent a little bit. But I figured, let's hold on to it. This is the third annual MTV Video Music Awards, the video collection that they released on LaserDisc. This is the Japanese release, and I was like, hell yeah, I got to keep this. And it is mostly just selected videos that won or were nominated that year, interspersed with some moments from the show. So I believe there's some Mark Goodman in there, maybe some Alan Hunter. I think I saw some Downtown Julie Brown in there as well. For the videos, it's got, of course, Dire Straits' Money for Nothing, which was Best Group and Best Video of the year. Bryan Adams and Tina Turner, It's Only Love. Prince and the Revolution for Raspberry Beret. Pet Shop Boys with Zbigniew Rybczynski's Opportunities video. And Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love. Don Henley, The Boys of Summer, which I think was the 1995 winner. So they threw it on here as like a little reminder. And Aha, The Sun Always Shines on TV, and of course Take On Me, which won like all sorts of special effects and concepts and stuff. And yeah, it's got Janet Jackson, Bobcat Goldthwait, Steve Winwood, Belinda Carlisle, Motley Crue, and more giving award presentations. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So I absolutely had to keep this one. And then unfortunately this is the original release, but yeah, the jacket was pretty minty, so I'll hold on to it. This originally came out in 1989. So it's bereft of special features, but the Criterion Collection, The Princess Bride, they went on to release 2 more of these, and it was the third one that actually had some special features, which I still don't have, but it's just always nice to see a Criterion disc in there that you don't own already. So I figured, yes, I will we'll keep this for the collection. And yeah, there's not even, I don't even believe there's a trailer on here. It's pretty bare bones and no commentary track, but whatever. Also, amazingly, I never owned this, even though this was, one of the LaserDiscs, to own because of the naughty nature of its CAV pressing, in which you could freeze frame and see one of the characters' erogenous zones. But the letterbox CAV LaserDisc of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I have no idea why I never owned this. I haven't even seen this in a long time. I saw it theatrically. But yeah, maybe a couple times on cable since then, but it has really been quite some time. This is an early 90s release, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, I forgot Disney and Touchstone did not enjoy putting the year. They just put a copyright stamp. They didn't put the release of the disc on there. But I do believe it was early 90s. Yeah, and this is the CAV1 4 sides. So yes, you can freeze frame and see Jessica Rabbit's hoo-ha if you would be inclined to do so. Oh, this one's got a Bookman sticker. I'll have to take that off. This one you might have seen in my aspect ratio video. I was using an example because it's a 1.66 to 1 film. Il Postino, also known as The Postman, letterbox release, and yeah, Miramax. Any extras on here? Original film soundtrack and audio commentary by director Michael Radford. Wicked cool. So yeah, Il Postino. Again, a film that I don't have in my collection, and there is a later special edition that I'll get at some point. Even though I don't really enjoy this film, I should probably reassess it because I saw it theatrically and it didn't really hit home with me. It seemed like it was trying a little too hard, but yeah, maybe I was just a grumpy old coot at whatever age I was at the time, 20-something. But yeah, Charles Russell's The Mask. I'll get the special edition at some point and give it another shot. I'll fire this up sometime. There's also a number of different pressings and sound formats, etc. But it was in nice shape. I figured let's keep it. And this was nice to get, and I of course watched it pretty damn quickly. A little bit of dings on the cover, but really not bad. I foolishly sold my copy that I had picked up back in 93 probably, somewhere around there. Batman Returns, but the bulk of these pressed were rotted, and SRC pressings are actually pretty decent. So I watched the whole thing, and it looked great. So I rectified my my failure to retain this in my collection. So I was super happy to get this, and I got a 5 out of 5 on Widescreen Review. I just nailed a copies of the first 2 issues of Widescreen Review, and they reviewed that in there, and the original 1989 Batman. And more DTS action. Super psyched. It's some blowout on the jacket spine, but whatever. Apollo 13. Supposedly, according to some notes on the LDDB, there's like 4 independent subharmonic frequencies within the LFE track during the rocket launch scene. So if you have a quality system, you can hear the individual 4 tones. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. Fired up. I just have one giant SVS subwoofer from back in the day, but so I don't know if I'm going to be able to hear all these tones, but yeah, it's nice having this sucker on DTS. So that was cool. And then the thing I was probably the most psyched about, just for kind of serendipitous timing, was the letterbox copy of Flash Gordon. I mean, I just released the video talking about the old MCA pan and scan version, and then lamented that I didn't have the letterbox copy, and then bam, it shows up in a lot for free down the street for me. So I spun this up. So we're going to do a revisited video and kind of talk about this release. And so psyched about that. Also got a couple boxes, so let me show those to you quick. So yeah, there was a decent amount of boxes in the pile, but sadly it was a lot of stuff I already had. It had, of course, the Abyss special collector's edition box, and the ET signature collection box, and just a whole bunch of great releases. I'm like, if I didn't have them, I would definitely keep them. Had the Platoon Pioneer Special Edition, but I didn't have the Pioneer Special Edition of One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest, which is very similar to the Platoon ones. Pretty simple. There's a sheet on the back that I actually took off there, but yeah, it's got great Jack Nicholson behind the bars there, and it's very similar layout. It's got a book in the middle, and it's got the discs housed in pockets at either side of the presentation. But yeah, I'll show you. I'll just flip through the book a little bit. It's mostly got the script and everything like that, but a lot of write-up about the film, and Ken Kesey's version of the screenplay as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And this is just the attachment on the back discussing the film, and it's just got 3 sides for the film itself, and then a documentary on side 4. Very, very nice release. Glad to have it. Been meaning to pick up a copy for years, so that I was psyched about. And Ken Cranes used to sell these sealed for next to nothing when LaserDisc was kind of on the wane. I never did pick it up, but there was a nice copy of it in there. So the Beatles Anthology set, which is a beast. I remember this being all over the news when this dropped, and seeing it in like Strawberries Books and Music for some pretty pennies. And it's got a nice slip cover, and I just folded up and kept the I think it just stuck to itself, but the back piece was a little beat up, but it's got a nice inner casing housing the discs. I believe there's, how many of these suckers? Like 8 discs? Yeah. So I'll just tear through those quickly. And I think there's a little, there's like a little sheet in here as well. Yeah, what is this? T-shirt offer coupon. So there you go. You can get the coupon. But here's the production art for this is pretty killer. That's volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. It's going to be a serious viewing marathon checking these things out finally. Volume 5. Almost rival some of my Macross box sets. I think it might have the same amount of discs as my Cobra box. Volume 6. I put a lot of work into this. I feel bad that they went for so cheap at the end there. Volume 7. And And I remember there was another insert. There's this insert which gives chapter breaks for all the sides. Yeah, very, very nice box set. So I was glad to have that. And finally, I'm going to actually do a proper review of this coming up shortly. But this came from the one, the only Ryan Cushing. So I'm going to spare you the inner details of this and save it for that video. But it is the collector's set that came out in Japan of Star Wars. And it's basically a repackaging of individually released discs of the, pre-special edition Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And it does have the special effects Making of a Saga disc as well from Star Wars to Jedi. So I'll show you that one. So it's pretty cool release, nice stuff. I mean, you could buy all these separately as well, but so yeah, it was a treat having that land in my mailbox, courtesy of Ryan. So I will report back on that shortly. I also have a definitive collection video that's coming at some point too. But yeah, it's got the Obi on the box there. Shows you a little bit of a small capture of the cover art there. And yeah, it's a beast. It's pretty heavy. It's kind of a must-have if you're into collecting Star Wars on LaserDisc. There's a decent amount of box sets that came out with over the years, but this one dropped in, 1995? So, yeah, just a couple of years before the special editions, and it does have LD graphics on there as well. So, yeah, we'll leave it off at that with Star Wars, and yeah, I'll come back and talk a little bit more about that box in particular. Like I said, I do have a couple packages arriving from Japan on the slow boat at some point. So we'll get into those when they arrive. In the meantime, hope you guys are picking up some great LaserDiscs as well, and or just taking some quiet time to spin up those ones you've been meaning to for a while. I just just fired up a couple things on my shelf I hadn't looked at in years, or I'd picked up in lots and said, oh, I guess I can get a chance to check this out now. So thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.